there's that pretty music. It must be time for Jim George, professor of the universe, going to teach us about things electronic. I have a specific question today for Jim. The number, if you also have a question, is 622-9622. If you have a rotary phone, the number is 352-622-9622. If you're out of the area and you have a rotary phone, it's 1-352-622-9622. If you're in the area, just 622-9622. If you don't have a rotary phone, just push the buttons.
And if you don't have a phone at all?
Smoke signals.
Hello.
I didn't know how far I was going to go before somebody said something. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Fine.
You have a rotary phone.
Right.
You know, there's a name for everything. What was the name? What did you call that little thing that stopped your finger on the rotary phone? That little metal parentheses
I
looking
would
thing.
just call it the stop. I have no idea.
I bet it had a name.
Their
though.
specific name, yeah.
I don't know what it was. I'm just wondering. I thought maybe you would know.
No, I never thought about
Do you remember?
naming it.
I think we had this conversation once before, but do you remember the crystal radio that did not require batteries, that you could take an alligator clip and clip it to that little metal finger stopper thing on the rotary phone? Mm-hmm. Do you remember that radio?
Yep, I do.
And
We built them.
You built them?
Yeah, crystal radios.
And you couldn't put a speaker to it, I guess, without a battery. But without a battery, you could use the little earplug.
Little earbud, yeah.
And you could hear the radio. I can't remember if you could tune it, though, could you?
I bet Jim's got one of those in his garage somewhere.
Well, Joe has
Joe
something.
has one? What is that?
That's a crystal radio.
And could you clip that to a phone?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
How do you listen to it?
Very carefully.
Isn't that neat?
You put an earplug in.
Yeah.
Earbud.
And how does it power? How's it
There's no
power?
power. It's a crystal. It vibrates. There.
What?
Oh, my.
No power necessary.
No power necessary.
Right.
But how come we had to clip the other one to the
Wow.
the
phone stopper.
The phone stopper.
Oh, it made it like an antenna.
Oh, that was the antenna. That wasn't the actual power. Oh, I didn't know
That's
that.
actual power. That's the antenna.
So where's the antenna on that?
Yeah, what's the antenna on this? Will you ask me questions? You're the pro.
And he's not even on the
See
microphone.
the oscillating coil? That's the one to your right where your big thumb is.
That's
So wait a
correct.
minute. Okay.
The tuner's in the middle.
Yep,
See the capacitors and then
yep.
So what provides the power?
the crystals in there somewhere.
So how come we don't use crystals to power everything?
Oh, it's very low.
I mean, yeah, the volume, yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, no, very low. Less than milliamps. I mean, it's
Oh.
very,
so
very low.
we couldn't put an amplifier to things like that?
If it made a noise and you collected the noise by a microphone and then amplified it, yes. But
Well, I don't
take
mean-
the output and put it to a speaker, no, there's
I
not
don't mean,
enough.
Okay, I don't mean the amplify the sound. I mean amplify the power. Like, don't we have converters that take small amounts of electricity and make them bigger? Or we don't have that?
Yes, we have devices that will take small amount of currents and make them bigger, but the inverter itself is what is the amplification factor. In other words, it plugs in. It has a source
So
of power.
what is a crystal? I mean, why do crystals put out energy? What's going on? Is that like a potato?
Is it like a potato? No, potato's like an acid, and the acid is like a battery. So, no, the little crystal radios, I'm not really positive why they or how they oscillate without power, but I'm thinking I know the answer, and that's dissimilar metals that react with each other, and so they create what we call a potential difference. So, like in the electric world, if you have a power meter outside your home and you have a ground rod, and then I come and I put into cable TV and I put in my own ground rod, there's potentially a difference between the two ground rods, and so that's why they say each ground that I have to attach to the ground rod that the power company uses, so that I'm on the same earth ground, you might say. I can't put my own earth ground in. If I do, then I have to loop them together, tie them together. Where the problem comes in is where I come in on the left side of the house, let's say where the garage is, and the power companies come on the right side of the house, let's say that's where your kitchen area is or whatever. Then if you touched something in the house, one was on one ground and one was on the other ground, especially with a voltmeter, you could read voltage off the grounds because they're each potentially a different ground.
Yeah, that sounds-
So I'm thinking
wow.
that the crystal vibrated because of dissimilar metals, which we call in the cable TV business, it's bad for us, I had the answer, and I was going to give you the question. Common path distortion, and it's where dissimilar metals react and create almost like a Morse code. It's chattering. It's creating a voltage spark.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking the crystal done. Now, Jim, you're out there. I know you know all the answers to it, so you have to call in. Because he's a ham radio operator. I gave up ham radio operation my license. I had an operator's license for 4 years when I was in high school.
Did you?
And then I was going to college, got drafted, went to Vietnam. After I got out of Vietnam, I said, I don't want to do Morse code anymore and all that kind of stuff.
Gosh.
Why was ham more popular up north and pork more popular in the south? What was the reason for that? Just always wondered.
Well, how does that equipment work then? Because Sumter Electric, that's my electric company, they put these little boxes in the garage for energy savers. And it's during different times of the day, I guess it, saves you on your water heater or something like that, and then it decreases your bill. What exactly do they do?
I think that's more like they can do what we call a brownout or a blackout. So they can sense that they need power somewhere else. So they'll just lower the power to your house and then put power somewhere else during the peak time. If you allow them to do that, it saves your bill because they're robbing from you to give to somebody else. They say, why should we deliver 200 amps to this house when Robin's by herself, let's say, and the dog's okay, and we'll just shut it down for a while.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't ever get low enough to where you come home and everything's flashing, right?
Right. No,
the
everything
power
is
didn't
all
turn
perfect.
off
I got my
in the sense off.
refrigerator and
It just
everything.
lowered its. It went maybe to 100 amps because 100 amps was sufficient for you.
Oh, okay.
200 amps is when you're home at night watching TV, the lights are all on, the oven's on, you're cooking something. You need all the amperage you can get.
And they can tell that.
Yeah, the night.
I like that time of day.
Yeah. Oh, when the cooking's going on?
Yes.
Yeah, when the oven's on, it's always good.
Oh, I love that quote. That's great.
When the oven's on, it's always
That's good.
It's always
Do you have a phone call? Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Jim.
Good morning, everybody. This is Sonny calling. Great way to save electricity, and you don't have to involve your power source, such as Seco or whatever, is just put your hot water heater on a timer, and you only run it for maybe 8 hours a day, and it'll give you enough hot water in your tank to last you all day long. It's, when it's on when you're going to be using a lot of hot water, i.e. showers, laundry, etc., but you usually time that stuff anyway. And especially if you're a working person, you're definitely not home using electricity when you're working. So we put the shebang on a timer. Now you have several other things that you could put various timing mechanisms on, i.e. Refrigerators and freezers. You don't open it up a lot, especially like during the day. You could put the thermostat on a timer. You could also have your thermostat in your house on a timer so that it doesn't run as much during the day when there's nobody there to enjoy the air conditioning. And then when you're on your way home, the thing kicks in and everything is nice and cool.
Yes.
But those are the things I would suggest when I was working for a utility. All the store owners, like Delicatessens, anything that had refrigeration in it, they received a rebate in their bill by putting the coolers and whatnot on a different setting so that they would run less when there's not really being doors being opened and everything else, to lose the refrigeration of the compartment.
Right.
But you can also, another thing with your hot water heater is that you put a blanket on it. Sounds, why would you put a blanket on a hot water heater? Well, for the same reason, it's maybe 100 degrees outside, and you keep your your hot water heater at 120, all that 20-degree difference is captured with a blanket. And there's a lot of other little things you can use. Lower wattage in your light bulbs. You can do that easily now with the newer type light bulbs. But I'm not crazy about some of these new light bulbs they have out. So I use the plain old 25-watt bulbs and the general lamps and stuff around the house. And anyway, there's things that can be done where you're not going to really alter your comfort and still save on electricity. But those are things that I do. So anyway, so I pass it on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
I would imagine you and he agree on those things.
Well, there's a few things that you can do around the house. He's pointing a few of them out that you could. The timers on water heaters is a great saver. And like you said, on a freezer, if you have a freezer out in the garage, you only use to open, let's say, once a week to get something out to put in your freezer in your house. You could have that on an every other day timer because you're not going to open it up and it's going to stay frozen, and safe. But on a refrigerator, I don't do a timer only because it's got a compressor and a motor, and that on, off is worse for a refrigerator than always on.
Oh, really?
Same thing with the fluorescent light bulbs. They hate on, off. They love to be on. That's why you'll see the malls and Sears and keep the lights on 24/7. Grocery stores keep them on 24/7. They're not noted for on and off, but they are noted for long life. So you just keep them on.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's cheaper to have the light bill than it is to replace those bulbs and get a dolly in there and a ladder in there and change out all those bulbs.
One thing I wanted to ask regarding what Sonny was basically outlining there was, do like smartphone connections to your home serve in a modern way, the same way the timers once served? Like, do people sometimes? Yeah.
So my daughter, for instance, she has a thermostat that he's alluding to that's a smart thermostat, and you program it. But she can call the house and tell the thermostat to lower down. Let's say it's she's coming home early. Instead of coming home at 5:30, she's coming home at 3. And she'll just tell the thermostat to turn on, lower the temperature down. And by the time she gets home, the house is cooled down.
Instead of being on all day.
Instead of being on all day.
That's a good idea.
Well, it stays on, but it's on, maybe it's on 78.
I gotcha.
Whereas where she might want to put it on 74.
Yeah.
And then when she gets in, she feels that cold chill. And then she can set it back to 76, 77, where she wants it. But she didn't want to walk into a warm house. So, yeah.
I have a question for you. I know you're professor of the universe, but this might not be, you might refer me to somebody else. Can you add memory to these smartphones?
Removable memory, yes, but most of the RAM, the random access memory, that one, it's embedded. And you can't really change that. But I'll give you, for instance, if you wanted to load apps, and you wanted an app for McDonald's and an app for Racetrack, your phone might say it's full.
Yes.
All right.
That's what happened to me.
Yet you could take pictures, tons of pictures, and you go, well, but that's a SIM card that you can buy that you can plug in,
make that bigger,
and make that bigger.
When you have your collection of apps, will that increase the storage if you make a folder and put like 3 or 4 apps in each folder? Will that?
I don't think it works that way with cell phones.
Okay.
I am not. I know we think of it as a computer. You'd have to ask Matt Wilkerson. Is that his name? You'd have to ask someone like that.
Yeah.
But I know my wife, for instance, she said her cell phone's full. She bought it thinking she'd have all this great stuff. It's great. It's got the cameras are perfect. She says the camera's better than her big Nikon. She loves the camera. That's all she takes pictures with now is her cell phone. But it's very limited to the amount of random access memory that it has in it. For apps. So the next one she gets, she's going to insist that it has buku.
You're on a mission now.
Buku RAM.
Did you see the water tent? Did you see the water tent? Or hear Robin talk about the water tent?
I did.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Now this floats on the water.
Yeah.
So you can swim naked and nobody will see you.
Yeah, from topside.
But does it go under the water, or are you?
Are you in a balloon? That's what we're asking.
I'm just curious. You could swim out of it, right?
I have not seen this thing.
All right.
It might have to be tethered to you though, because it has to move
Let's move with
when you
you.
move. It's like 3 feet on each side of your body.
You get a
with
gusty
big old
wind,
What?
and you're swimming towards shore, and the wind's blowing you out to sea. You go, wait, hold on here.
We have a bathing suit hanging up on the inside, so when you're ready to come out of the water, you get dressed in the tent.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, but if you have snorkelers or scuba divers that go underneath
what I'm
the water,
thinking.
I
They're
mean,
gonna-
they've got a great
You're
shot.
still gonna be.
Oh la la.
You're still gonna have people.
I mean, and then you go to the wine area.
Oh, that was a different story. Yeah, that was a weird story, wasn't
That was a
it?
very weird story. You know, some people have a smoke afterwards. He had a glass of wine. You know.
Exactly. I love that.
Oh my
No, I
god.
didn't. There's too many stories here, all mixed together.
Just
all
here,
mixed
the
together.
message I got from the Target story: don't buy any bathing suits in Target right now.
Yeah. No, stay away. Stay away.
You might not want to do
There
that.
are some weird people.
I'm
out
like, all right, so my question actually was this one. Okay, there was a story this morning. The need to use proprietary lightning cables with your iPhone creates some complications, including for external batteries. Now, that's just the beginning of that, and then it goes on to this story. But what I really wanted to ask was reminded by this. Why is it that the Apple products, like the phone, need to have Apple products? How come I can't buy one of those cheap? And now I can, but I'm warned against it every time I look at anything. The little thing that I plug into my phone to charge it is from Apple. They sell that exact same looking thing over at Walgreens for like $4
Yeah.
or something. But Apple warns against it. Don't use a non-proprietary. Am I saying the right word?
Yes.
Why? What could be the difference?
Well, the charger you have, even though it's a wall wart, that is the transformers at the wall, and just the cable goes to your cell phone,
Right.
is pulsing, which is the charging at a certain frequency, and at a certain random on-off pulse. So you know it's ascending voltage, stopping, sending voltage, stopping, and then setting a little bit for a long time. Notice it's waking up the battery. That's the pulsing, and it's charging the battery. If you bought one at a store that didn't have that same, let's say, memory, then it might be just putting all the power to it all at one time.
Oh, okay.
And your cell phone might go charge really fast. You go, wow, this one's even better. It charges fast.
And?
But then you would find that the battery is either getting overly heated or less lifespan to the battery, and so on and so forth.
Wow.
So when they design all these things, even your laptop, if you have a laptop and it says 24 volts or whatever the voltage is, and it recommends model so-and-so, you might have an old one around the house that's still 24 volts and it fits. And you plug it in and it charges your battery. And then about 3 months later, maybe even less, because I had this happen to me,
Yeah.
the battery's dead.
Oh.
The battery won't charge at all.
Oh.
And then when I buy a new battery, the guy I buy it from, usually online, will say, "Do you need a new charger?" And I'll say, "No, I bought a charger." "Oh, you bought a charger? What charger did you buy?" And then when I tell him, he'll go, "No, you can't use that charger. That's why your battery went bad." So they build those proprietary
That's
things in, so
good
you
to
have
know.
to buy their charger.
Yeah, right. But it's good to know that, because you might buy a charger just because you forgot your.
Yeah,
let's-
a generic charger.
Let's say you went to a hotel someplace. Oh, I forgot my charger. So you buy one at Walgreens, you ruin your battery.
You potentially ruin your battery. Not everything is that way, but there are a lot of things that are. I mean, even flashlights that have rechargeable batteries, it will tell you only charge in this type of charger. Don't charge in that type of charger.
I was looking at a manual for a vehicle the other day, and in that manual, it's for those electric things that you charge things up with, the auxiliary charger. It says on there some items may not be compatible for this charger. How do you know which items
You
are
really
compatible?
don't, unless you went online to that charger and it had a whole list. But no one's doing whole lists anymore. They just give you a warning and hope everything works out.
Oh.
Now wait a minute. That might explain why my cigarette lighter doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, that
I
could
was charged. I don't use it for cigarettes.
Yeah.
Or cigars like I used to.
Right.
But I use it to charge my phone, and it doesn't work anymore.
right.
So
Mine-
maybe because I bought one of those cheap things at Walgreens.
Well, mine quit working the other day, and it was my charger itself, and so I changed the battery in it. I mean, the fuse in it. And as soon as I plugged it in, the fuse blew again, and I go, I had nothing plugged into the inverter. So I changed the fuse again and put it in, and it took the car fuse out. In other words, and the car fuse is not in an area you can get to; it's behind the dash.
Oh no!
Oh no. That
So
must have been a
now,
trip.
guess what I'm doing this Saturday? I'm going to have to pull all that, the console in between the two seats. I got to pull that out. I got to get them.
I hope-
It's an inline fuse.
Wow.
It's not the little small ones that you plug in.
Gotcha,
I
yeah.
checked all those. They're all A-OK.
Oh
I went
my.
online with the manual, and the manual says, it's behind the
I hope
dash.
this doesn't cost a fortune.
It's something you can do yourself.
Yeah, but if I change it myself and it does what yours did, that means I'm going to need help.
Well, if you change the one, you still have power coming out, yes or no?
No.
Then it's probably the small fuse that's either under the hood
I know.
or right near the dash.
I know, but didn't you say you changed yours?
No, mine did not blow it. Mine is
Oh.
In other words, the inverter I had a fuse built into the plug you plug in. You just unscrew the top, and there's a fuse there. You change the fuse, screw the top back on, you put it back in. And I've done it in the past before, but now, I guess the inverter was going bad, and it was giving me an indication. But now it took the big fuse out, and that big fuse is like a 30 amp slow blow. And which means it heats up before it blows. Well, the small ones, even though they're 30 amp, they just blow.
Is that what you asked for? A 30 amp slow blow?
That's it. That's it.
That extra.
Well, you just made Joe's day. He says, "Where do I sign up?"
All right, hold on. You have a phone call. You need your headset, Jim. Oh my gosh!
All right.
Good morning. You're on the air with the Professor of the Universe.
Yes, Mr. Professor. A lot of these devices that require batteries say that if you're not going to use them and store them, you take the batteries out of them, especially if it's over a period of, let's say, a couple of 2-3 months. Why do those batteries go goofy if you don't use them and kind of actually spoil your product?
First of all, the batteries will swell up, get larger, and second of all, they will leak. So my wife, for instance, she'll have let's say an AM/FM radio. She bought it. She went to the beach with it. It was only like a $13, $14 radio, whatever. She came back. She put it on the shelf. She hasn't used it. 6 months later, she wants to go to the beach again. She grabs it. It doesn't work. She goes to change the batteries, and the whole compartment is corroded because they do leak. They will swell up and get larger. We have a whole house, I shouldn't say we have a whole room UPS in our data center. So it powers the entire room in case there's no power. And luckily it's smart. It speaks to us in a code, and you look at the code and it tells you what it is. And it will say battery number 3 in position number 6 is bad. And so we open it up and we can't even get the battery out. That's how swollen it is.
Oh my.
So
Are you saying that those batteries are liquid? Those AA batteries are liquid?
there is liquid inside, but it's not. If you'll look, you'll see it. If you want to cut one open, go right ahead. It'll spark a little bit, but it won't hurt you. And there'll be liquid inside. It's some of them have 2 different types or 3 different types of powder, but when those powders touch each other, that's what makes the current. You have aluminum foil in there, paper in there.
Yeah. But if you use the battery, it doesn't allow the battery to swell, right?
Right. Well, you're discharging it, and then then you're throwing it away. If it's a rechargeable one, it's not getting discharged, immediately. It's getting discharged over a long period of time, just sitting there doing nothing, and it begins to leak. Yeah. Haven't you ever taken a battery out and looked at it and seen the edges are all corroded? Well, that's.
Yes, I had when I had a little transistor radio like you were explaining.
Yeah.
I turned it on, it wouldn't go on, and I opened it up, and it was all funny inside.
Yep. All funny inside. That's it.
Thank you for the call. We're out of
Just similar
time.
metals. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Any plans for the
Great,
weekend?
Jim.
My wife is going out of town to visit our oldest daughter in North Carolina, who will be delivering Sunday.
Oh.
Be our second
Your second
grandchild
grandbaby.
by that daughter, and so I'll be all alone. So I'm gonna be
You're going to be under your hood of your car. Is what you're
I'm
going
gonna
to
be
Yeah, that's what it
fixing,
sounds like.
I'm fixing my cars, right?
Thank you, Jim.
I'll be careful what I say on the air.
Thank you.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. A diver has died volunteering to help a boys' soccer team trapped